It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. Let's go. I'm just telling you to fight for your dreams, but it's not what it seems. Man, it's hard to be seen when everybody wants to be king. Yeah, they all want a ring. Yeah, we all want to be free.
The Detroit Lions win a game, folks, and Karen Rodgers goes down. Oh, God, that's the greatest thing in the world. Karen goes down. Mark, what is going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, man? Lions victory, a defensive game for the Detroit Lions. Absolutely stunning right there. Made some big plays on defense. And I'm still a little bit in shock that we won the game. But, hey, man, a win's a win. Let's go.
We got a new Lions YouTuber on here. That is Dan from Lions Talk Live. What is up, man?
Not much, man. Victory Sunday. It feels great.
Victory Sunday feels great. Tomorrow's Victory Monday. It's better than any else. Losing sucks, and especially beating Karen Rodgers is just it's like the icing on the cake. The greatest thing ever. And watching him just throw tantrums, Mark, wasn't that just beautiful? Throwing around and all set and freaking out.
Oh, man, he was going off today, man, yelling at LaFleur, yelling at players. I wonder if he was yelling at himself today because he didn't really have a good game, man. He had a couple bad throws out there that the Lions capitalized on. So, like I said, like behind the chat, man, I'm really interested to hear what Aaron Rodgers had to say about this game because he probably had a meltdown.
Did you like watching Karen Rodgers' meltdown, Dan? I was laughing. I was dying.
I mean, you see somebody start losing their composure, and you're the leader of the team. How much is everybody else feeding off that? And he looked as rattled today as I'm sure any Lions fan has seen in the last decade plus.
I never seen him this rattled before. And you want to know what really helped out? A rookie, defensive back, safety, Kirby freaking Joseph. 2 interceptions and 1 killer pass defense where he knocked the ball out that would have been a touchdown. We got to show some love to Mr. 31, Mark Orm. Talk about Kirby Joseph.
Hey, man, this is a kid that got drafted in the 3rd round. This is why Brad Holmes drafted him. Mm-hmm. You know, he kind of got thrown into the mix this year with some injuries. He's played really well the last 3 or 4 games. He was a ball hawk at Illinois his last year. But he was a guy that kind of, stayed I believe it was 4 years at Illinois. He didn't really do much until his senior year at Illinois. And it was a ball hawk, had like 5 or 6 interceptions, drafted him in the 3rd. Everybody wanted a safety for the Detroit Lions. And this kid has stepped up. Like I said, the last 3-4 games, man, he's made plays every single game for the last month almost. Now he's got 2 picks. Should have had a pick last week or 2 weeks ago. He's got a nose for the football. We like the kid. He's developing early, and you can already see it that he's starting to gel with his teammates, man. And I love that he picked off Aaron Rodgers twice. That's just the icing on the cake. That's the icing on the cake right there.
He was my favorite player in the draft. I talked about it endlessly. I mocked him to the Lions way before the draft. We got him. I said, I love this guy. He's a baller and a game changer. He gets turnovers. Dan, Kirby Joseph explodes in this game. Phenomenal game for the rookie.
I mean, how many playmakers does this defense have? And he's appearing to be one very legitimate one out there for us. It's hard to believe he's only played 1 full season as a safety. Pro Football Focus this week put out that in the last 3 weeks, Joseph is the number 1 safety in all the NFL in coverage. And you can see it today. He reads, he hits. I mean, he's got the complete package except one thing. He needs more experience. I mean, 1 season in college playing safety just isn't enough. But the Lions, at least so far this season, appear that they've struck gold again in this draft class. And this kid has got potential written all over him.
Huge shout out to Brad Holmes And, this is something that we want to see throughout this season is the development of young players. That's the most important part. The playoffs, it's not looking like it, obviously. But if you want to see these young guys, and another one that was a young guy that made some plays is Derek Barnes. Holy, what did he have for breakfast, Mark? This dude came out there like he's been on fire.
Again, man, that's a kid that, 2 games in a row. He made some plays last week against the Miami Dolphins as well, man. It was very small amount of plays that he made. He doesn't get a lot of playing time. You can tell he's not in there a lot, but when he's in there, he's starting to make plays. He had a sack. He had he had a nice stuff. The kid is just making plays. He's a developing linebacker. I kind of thought that when we took him out of Purdue last year because he played a lot of D-line, kind of switched over to linebacker. So I thought he was a developing linebacker, and it looks like he's starting to play good football. And this is what we want. We want these young guys to take over. This is a very young team, young defense. And it's great to see a guy like Derek Barnes that everybody is, has been starting to throw off the wayside, man, throw in the garbage bin. But no, man, he's playing good football. This is what we want to see from our young kids, man. And it's good to see that, man. I'm glad for Derek Barnes because I think he's going to be a pretty good football player. I don't think he's going to be a superstar or anything, but if he can start making plays like that, make these splash plays, let's go.
Derek Barnes, 12 total tackles, 4 solo. Kirby Joseph, second with 10 total tackles and 5. Something's making some noise there, and that is this there. What do you think about the young duo that we got right there, young guys, Dan, coming in here on defense, making some plays?
I mean, you think start of the year, obviously we had an atrocious defense, but ever since the bye, we have steadily progressed and improved. I get Miami had some playmakers that could just shred us, but you're starting to see the emergence of Detroit from a defensive line, improving. You're seeing the linebackers. I mean, you got a rookie in Rodriguez, and now you got Barnes, a second-year player that are starting to make more and more plays. You got Okuda. I'm still very high on Jerry Jacobs once he gets fully healthy. I think that's going to give us 2 great physical corners. And then, obviously, Joseph, I don't see there's any way he can go back on the bench whenever Tracy Walker, whoever gets healthy. I think he's going to become a permanent fixture back there.
Kirby Joseph's the real deal. Love what he did there. Very good job. And there's 2 other players that I thought did really good. One in particular, we traded T.J. Hockenson. Everybody a lot of people freaked out. A lot got upset. But there's a guy we drafted last year, James Mitchell. Stepped up in a big way. Got a touchdown. And I think more importantly, he got a critical first down in one of the drives at the end of the game. How'd you like how James Mitchell performed, giving more playing time and taking up the T.J. Hockenson spot there, Mark?
Well, again, man, youth movement. This is exactly what we wanted to see, man. He was going to get the spotlight. Brock Wright was kind of questionable with a concussion, even though Brock played today. But James is going to step up, and we wanted to see some plays made from him. He got a nice touchdown. He had a huge third down catch, converted into a first down. This is what we want to see. I know everybody can say that Hockenson had 9 catches and 70 yards over there in Minnesota today. And that's good. Good for Hawk. He's not our problem anymore. But what we saw today from our youth guys was progression. And scoring a touchdown is humongous. It's the game-winning touchdown, by the way, from James Mitchell. So it's all about the youth movement. Even though Hawk is only 25 years old, we want to see that. It's nice to see, man, a guy like James Mitchell step up and make some big plays for the Lions.
King just came in here. Everything King, so I can't wait to hear from him side. He's probably just trying to fix everything right now, make sure it's squared away. Herman Moore will be in about 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, and then we'll talk to him. So I'm going to just go ahead and just go to this new, because they'll pop in and talk about it. Love what I saw from the young guys. Let's talk about Jared Goff. Mark, what'd you see from Jared Goff in this game? Good, bad, and the ugly.
He was terrible. Yep. He was absolutely terrible. He made maybe 2-3 good throws, if that. He made a lot of bad throws that should have been picked off. Got really lucky on a couple of those bounce balls. I thought both quarterbacks were terrible, but Jared Goff was bad, man. They kind of got away from the run. I felt like they got away from the run again for some reason. I don't know why they would actually do that when that's a tough team to throw on, man. you got to hit him early, got to hit him short. But whenever he tried to go long or anything, his throws were off. He didn't look good. A lot of batted balls. A lot of balls thrown at the feet of his wide receivers. That one pick that he threw, that Jair Alexander threw, I don't even know what he was looking at there, man. St. Brown was not open. So, but, you know, he had a horrible conversion rate. I don't even know what. I think he was what? Was he even – did he even throw 55% completion percentage today? He was off. He was 14 for 26, so barely 52, 53%. He just wasn't – and got a couple touchdowns, though, so that's all that matters. But they ran the ball well. But Goff, he just didn't look good today, man. He just didn't look good. And we can sit here, we can point the fingers at play calling. We can point it at Ben Johnson. We can point it at everybody else. But you have to look at some of his throws that he threw, and they were awful, man. So we got out with a win defensively, and I guess that's all that matters right now.
King, what's up, man? Got a whip victory.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? Man, we get a victory against the Packers. I mean, that defense they were flying today. They were hitting today. I mean, even so often that they were hitting each other. You know what I'm saying? It's like y'all got to calm down a little bit out there, man. Y'all taking each other out the game, but defense was flying, man. Jared Goff did everything possible to try to get a game away. Let's just make that be known. 3 back-to-back possessions where he literally tried to throw another pick. So, but
yeah,
you know, we did enough to put up 15 points, and you know, with the defense playing like that, you know, that was enough for us to come out with a victory.
What'd you think of Kirby Joseph today, King?
Kirby Joseph had the game of his life, not of his career, of his life today. He is one of only 4 players to pick Aaron Rodgers off two times in one game. So, you know, to come in as a rookie and do that, I mean, that's amazing. You know, everybody wants to pick off Aaron Rodgers, even Aiden Hutchinson as a rookie, to pick him off in the end zone, man. That's amazing to see those guys step up.
Okay, so we trade T.J. Hockenson. James Mitchell comes in, steps up, touchdown, gets a critical first down. What you thought about the young player stepping up for T.J. Hockenson, who is no longer here?
You know what? I don't know how to feel about it exactly, because the only thing the Lions needed to do was go to the tight end. And that's just something that we just didn't do. You know, I mean, you didn't want to pay Hockenson, fine. Let him go be a Pro Bowler somewhere else. That's what we're used to here in Detroit. So, I mean, let's just be honest about it. He's on Minnesota. They're going to use him. They're definitely going to use him. And I wish the Lions would do that more, man. It puts more pressure on defenses when you put that tight end across the middle. And we just refuse to do it. But today we was able to get a couple of big time pass out of our tight end. So that's fine. It never was a talent question with Hockenson for me. I know he can catch the ball. I know he can get yards after the catch. It's just the fact that we just didn't go to him. You know, that was the biggest thing that bothered me.
Jared Goff performance, King.
Horrible. It was a Jared Goff performance. It was a Jared Goff performance, man. You know, you had opportunities where you got the proper block. You didn't read through your progressions. You just stared down who you was throwing the ball to. I seen that a couple of times out there today. Trying to give the ball back to the Packers and things like that. So, I mean, he does pedestrian things, but then he gets really bad. You know, he gets really bad at times, and that's always been Jared Goff. He'll show you flashes, and then he'll take them away. That's been him over his career. So, I mean, just for today, his performance was horrible.
Derek Barnes, and then we'll go to other people. I just wanted to hear your thoughts on Derek Barnes. Man.
Derek Barnes was a man today. You understand? He was a man today, man. To see that type of play coming from the linebackers, man, I have no complaints whatsoever, man. Always been high on Derek Barnes. You know, wish nothing but success for him. I remember when we first got him, I was excited about him, and I still am. So, like I said, as we plug in some more star talent, some more veterans, these guys are only going to get better.
So, Mark, and then Dan, right after that, what is your expectations now for next week? We go up against the Chicago Bears. We beat Green Bay at home, but, man, Chicago's offense starting to light it up.
Chicago's starting to play really good football, man. Justin Fields is looking like he's starting to get it a little bit. They still got that defense that, they have a good defense at times. They kind of up and down. But I don't expect them to go to Chicago to win. We faced the Green Bay team today that was it looks like they're completely falling apart at the seams now. We can blame LaFleur, blame the injuries. We can blame the old man, Rodgers, for everything that's going on over there. But that's a team that, we should have won. I didn't pick them to win this week, Detroit, because I just don't really think they're a good football team right now. But we did win. But the Packers, man, they just seem to be stumbling over themselves now. We won. We go to Chicago. I still don't think we're going to beat Chicago in Chicago. Like I said, man, it looks like Fields is kind of getting it right. They're doing some nice things over there. And I think it's going to be a tough game. We always play, the division rivalries, a tough matchup. But I still see us losing that football game. But playing tougher, better football, hopefully. So get some guys back, too, for that game. Let's hope.
What about you, Dan? You think that we can take some of this victory here and roll over a little bit? You go over to Chicago and start a little bit of momentum.
I think Fields is a matchup nightmare for us. I mean, Rodgers ran on us, and we all know the same bits. Any mobile quarterback is going to have a field day with us, especially on 3rd and long. For whatever reason, we just haven't figured that out yet. And Fields, progressively throughout this year, has gotten better and better. His reads have gotten better. He still uses his legs a ton. He's becoming a very good young quarterback. They don't have a lot of offensive pieces around him yet to help him out, but I think that's going to be a tough matchup for us. And I wouldn't feel too optimistic about us going in and all of a sudden shutting down type of quarterback that we haven't been able to deal with all year.
King, man, seeing Aaron Rodgers throwing tantrums, going upset. That was just as good as a win. I'm not gonna lie, I can't stand that.
Glorious
thoughts
day.
of watching him
See
melt down.
Oh my God, we kicked this behind today. Kicked this behind, man. Put some pressure on him back there, but at the same time, the turnovers were big time. To have our defense get turnovers on him, on Aaron Rodgers, is a beautiful thing. Even though they tried to give him the game at the end. Two delay of game calls they didn't call.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same old. Yeah, that was
they
horrible.
Just would never call it.
They just
didn't even
call
properly review the fumble. What about the fumble review? What happened with that?
I'm just like, I don't know what's going on.
No review. Like I was like, what's going on, man? He's like, he let the clock run down twice. No review. I'm like, okay, come on, man. They're just trying to give him the game here. This is awful. But we squeaked it out.
Seemed like a lot of the clock issues throughout the entire game. I mean, it wasn't just in that final drive that the refs were letting it get to 0 and then a +1. It was throughout the game.
Same old refs. I was watching the end of the game. I'm just like, I don't even know what to say, man. Like, it's just, this is what happens. What do you think of that 4th down call, King? At the end of the game, I didn't like it. At the end of the game,
I don't know, man. You kick the ball to Aaron Rodgers. You know what I'm saying? We all know the history with Aaron Rodgers. I kind of, if I'm coaching, I probably do the same thing. I probably take an opportunity to try to get a 1st down. I wouldn't choose that play, but I take that opportunity to try to get that 1st down, man, because you just don't want to give Aaron Rodgers the football. You just don't. So, I'll go for it.
We got 84, the legend. Herm. What's going on, Herm?
Hey, not much. How you guys doing? How's it going today?
Pretty good, bro. Pretty good.
Victory. Victory. Thoughts of the game?
I had a little bit of the first 3 quarters was fatiguing. I'm not gonna lie. I went into halftime tired. An 8-0 game at halftime, and just looking at the play that put it there. Now, if you're a Lions fan, you're going, listen, second half, they got to play. We've seen adjustments that are made in the second half that ultimately don't turn favorable for the Detroit Lions. But it was, I don't know what it was. It was just, it was a weird environment. I almost felt like I'm watching not 2 teams that were in a rebuilding phase, but 2 teams that we're going to struggle for a period of time because they're just trying to get it right, just trying to get two teams ready to go. Lions are playing off of the home adrenaline. They're playing off of the mistakes that the Green Bay Packers are making. But if you have Green Bay score any one of those other opportunities and touchdowns, I mean, it's a different ball game. The Lions in the penalties, it just wasn't. You can make out of it whatever you want. A win's a win. I get that. But when you start going with that mentality, that's a bad place to go. It's a ugly win. We'll take it, but you want to see, like, what are we looking at? Like, where are we looking to go from here? You're going to face teams that are in much better shape than Green Bay Packers. I'll put it like this: it says enough to you if you go, Aaron Rodgers was the leading rusher for the Green Bay Packers, okay, in this game. That in itself tells you enough, right? That tells you a lot about that particular team and their lack of players and playmakers on the offensive side. But defensively, um, it was a tough game. I mean, it's no way to. I mean, I want to make something positive. It's a win. I get it, but man, it was tough. It was a tough game.
We'll ask questions to Herm here. We'll start like the totem pole. We'll just go King, Dan, Mark. So King, man, what do you got for Herm?
What did you think of Jared Goff's performance this game?
You know what? I thought that he wasn't working with a playbook that I felt could exploit and take advantage of some of the things I think the Packers could have given them. They've had, I think, a pretty good unit of guys. Yeah, Hockenson is gone, played well today for Minnesota in a short week of preparation on their side. But I thought that this was a team that would, when you look at Jared Goff, there would be a bigger game. But to see that, he just didn't have any explosion from his receiving unit. He didn't really get any big plays. They were efficient. But a lot of those first downs, you even look at their third down efficiency, you look at some of their first downs. I mean, 2 or 3 of those of the 6 I think they had, or 7, came by way of penalty that was committed on the other side. So the overall play by Goff wasn't great. He stared down the one interception that I think he was looking for, Amon-Ra, that was picked off. I forget the Packers defensive back number 23. But it wasn't a solid performance. It was one that's got to get better. And I don't see where the excitement, other than you finally get a win.
Dan, go ahead, man.
Herman, what do you think of it? Seemed like, especially in the second half, we went away from the run early. Then we eventually got it back later. But earlier in the third quarter, when we were struggling to score, it seemed like a lot of our patterns had multiple receivers going into the same area. You think that was just a mistake, or were they legitimately set up where 2 receivers go within 5 yards of each other?
I can tell you that's not ever the case. Unless there's some type of a bubble screen or some type of a play where you're going to play levels in terms of blocking. Meaning, if there's a quick screen to the outside to a wide receiver and you have a guy, if the ball hasn't been released, you got to pass up that first defender and go to the next level to get the block, and then maybe there's another guy that comes out and blocks. But typically you're not. There's a thing in football called spacing, and in the passing game, you have to have spacing between receivers because that's how you create the lanes in the passing lane for the quarterback, and also for your receivers to work in. When you have too many people in one area, you bring congestion. So anytime you see that, that's not a good sign. It's typically an indication of a busted play. And, I tried to watch more of the offensive line to see what Jared Goff's time looked like. I'll be honest, more so than looking at the receiver routes downfield. I just didn't think the Lions aren't looking deep. Okay, they're not looking. I think they're a little shocked a little bit and wanting Jared Goff to hold off in the pocket a little bit. They are running deeper crossing routes and some combination routes where you try and pull the safety out and get some type of one-on-one on the outside. But they're really not looking that far downfield because I don't think they feel they have those dominant playmakers. So it's a very controlled passing game.
Mark?
So hey Herman, so what do you think about the 4th down call at the end there, Dan Campbell going for it on 4th down, putting the ball in Goff's hands there, the play calling by Ben Johnson? And did you think that they were really going to lose that game right there?
You know what? I was really fearful that that particular play would come back and haunt him.
Yeah.
You know, when you think about it, sometimes you're gonna have to, Green Bay. Yeah, you don't want them to get the ball back. Yeah, you don't want Aaron Rodgers, but he's not playing with the same deck. He's not. He doesn't have a Devontae Adams. He doesn't have some of the key players in the running game that are dependable. He's down a Randall Cobb. He's the veteran wide receiver. So I think I punt and I make them play. However, you're giving them excellent field position at the 42, 43-yard line. Coming out of the 2-minute break, you have all your timeouts. Yeah, the playbook's a little different than what it is when you're having to start off deep in your territory and you got them backed up near their goal line, and then they're having to work their way down the field 80, 90 yards. So that was a little bit of a surprising call. And I will say this for the first time. I said if Green Bay comes back and they win because of that, I wonder what will be the consequences as it relates to coaching and to the staff itself. Like, are there changes that are going to be made? Like, what do you do in that? You're not going to be 2-6. You're going to be 1-7, and you're going to look at how many games have come down to play calling, taking unnecessary risk or chances at times. And I'm not saying that was, when it works out in your way, it's a great thing. But when it doesn't, that would have been catastrophic in my mind. And I think given all the things that we've seen kind of come unglued in the last few weeks with the Detroit Lions, that would have been probably a little bit more discussion, a little bit deeper action taken. I mean, Green Bay's going to be faced with that, right? That organization is probably going to do a complete teardown. They probably held Aaron Rodgers there especially after Devontae Adams left. Held him probably there 1 year longer than they probably should have. But we'll see what happens.
Well, what do you think of Kirby Joseph, the safety? Gets 2 interceptions. If you would have played against him, would he have beaten you on some of these plays? What do you think of the young rook?
Well, kudos to him. You always want your young players to go in and have that defining game in that moment. That kind of takes their career to another level, especially in terms of confidence. It won't be that easy when you're facing receivers that will challenge you for the passes, when you have coaches that will go after you and attack you because they have what we call playmakers. The Lions are not possessing right now a player other than control style route runners and guys that can get open in space. They don't have those players that you say, you know what, they're going to go up and make plays. They're going to challenge for the football. They can basically beat the double coverage even when they're covered. Safeties are typically involved with that. It's usually a safety in a corner, right? And with that wasn't what they were going to face today. These guys had to get behind him. Aaron Rodgers, it was amazing to see how many passes he underthrew that could have led to touchdowns. So there's a lot of plays they're going to peel back from their film and say, you know what, we lost this not because the Lions beat us, but because of the turnovers and about us not capitalizing on opportunities. The Lions are going to look at it on the other side, and there weren't a lot of times where you can sit there and say they dropped the pass that could have led to a touchdown, or they had a guy that was wide open, they couldn't get the ball to him. It's just that they capitalized on the fact that this was a team that gave up too many scoring opportunities. So from a safety standpoint, I say that's a great job for them, being able to have the turnovers. We haven't seen the takeaways in some time that swung in their favor. And for them to come away today, having that be really the key indicators and the key reasons why they won this football game is kudos to Joseph.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said,
Come on.
Kirby Joseph. No, I'm just saying, Kirby Joseph. Love that performance. I love Lucas. I love Pascal so far. All of these young guys on this defense. What do you think takes the Lions? What position of need do you think takes the Lions defense to the next level?
They still have to have a consistent pass rush. I don't think even what we saw today, you get 1 sack on Aaron Rodgers. He's a guy that's going to always evade the pocket. He has good evasive ability, and then once he gets out, he knows how to get rid of the football. He's not going to take unnecessary sacks. So he's a hard quarterback to get sacks on. You're going to want to see more pressure. I thought you saw Barnes. He was in there a few times, man, disrupting some of the backfield for the Packers. But if I'm looking, I still think they're going to need a stronger defensive down line. They're going to have that front four, front three. They got to get solid in the middle. I think they got a good group and a young group of defensive backs, but they just don't have, I think, the over-the-top capability right now unless they figure out how to put pressure on quarterbacks, eliminate some of that time. I think they're still going to be beaten in the secondary by really good wide receivers. Not even your top echelon of wide receivers, but just a good, competent group of wide receivers, I think, still will give our defensive secondary a challenge.
Second part of this question. So, with that said, do you go quarterback in the first part of the draft, or you go defense?
I'm still right now for quarterback. Your long-term play here is how do you start to build so you don't have if a quarterback goes down, everything goes down in your offense. You still got to develop something solid there, in my opinion. A lot of people may disagree with that and think you got to start with defense and being able to protect. Yeah, they're really bad on defense this year. They're ranked at the bottom of the NFL, but that's a lot of that can be offset with a good offense. It can be offset with consistency on that side, and I think they built that. But you got to have those leaders. So defensively, I think you need a strong down lineman first because you got to get the pass rush and you got to get pressure up the middle, because that is what will make your secondary better. You don't have to have, Pro Bowl corners, because if you have a good group of guys that are up front and also within the linebacking unit, that strengthens your secondary. But offensively, your whole unit can go down if you don't look at long-term benefit there.
Dan.
Herm, I got a question for you, just because I think the Lions, as young as they are and how they're trending, are going to run into a same situation that you had in the 90s. You guys, if the Lions keep developing some of these younger guys, they appear like they're going to have some at least sound talent on both sides of the ball. Maybe not some of the playmakers, but they're going to need to address the quarterback position, in my opinion. Detroit, let's assume we have a top 8 pick. Would you rather them develop the D or go after the future quarterback?
That's a good question, because I may be a little shell-shocked, and it's only because I went through my entire career without that position being solidified. I didn't play with any quarterback longer than 2 years. Scott Mitchell was the only one I played with for 2 consistent years, solid years. Other than that, it was quarterback by committee, and it was always rotating. And when you have that kind of instability, think about all the talent. Think about, we had 4 or 5 Pro Bowlers on each side of the ball, and it was tough unless you have people that are leading the charge that can still make those plays. And it's not that we had guys that weren't ready, but how are they going to come in 1 year when you got everyone else ready to play and your quarterback is still in flux and you're just trying to figure that out? You can plug and play and you can grow some of the defense. You can also have good defensive schemes if you have good depth. The Lions, they just need players. And I think a lot of people are looking at the Hockenson move and they're wondering, why would the Lions make that move? At first, I thought this was a terrible move, and I still think they didn't get the better of that trade. But what they're trying to do is get players, and they know in order to get it done in a shorter period of time, you got to have more picks in the draft. And each year, you also have to do well in free agency, and you also have the combination of developing players within your system. And if you can do that, then yes, you can turn the tide pretty quickly. But that's assuming everybody's going to work and everybody's going to stay healthy. And we just know that's not going to happen. Quarterback, I still say I stay there with it.
Mark.
Mike, could I throw a second part of that question?
Go ahead, man.
So I got a question for you. Would it be better off knowing that, okay, assuming we only get a couple more wins this year, and it means Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes have not had a ton of victories in 2 years, do you think it'd be better for them to sign or go after a veteran quarterback and then use the draft capital to fill out the rest of the team? Or do you think they need to ride and die with a rookie quarterback? Because, I've been around for a while, and I can say this: usually rookie quarterbacks take a while to develop. Do you think they've got that kind of time to develop someone?
I say it comes down to the type of quarterback you go after. Given how potent your running game is, and the fact that you already have a star, wide receiver that you're hoping for anyway, that's going to pan out, that you picked up in the first round in 2022. Then the question becomes, do you go after an athletic quarterback? Do you go after a quarterback that is built more like a Jalen Hurts or a Lamar Jackson, or someone that's going to give you that dual threat capability versus just a pure pocket passer? Now you're helping the running game. You're also assisting the passing game. You're helping your linemen, but you're also extending plays, and you're becoming a whole different type of a threat offensively. Those are things you have to consider when I say quarterback. I don't want to just put myself in a box here and say, okay, it's got to be this traditional quarterback. I don't think that's the place the Lions need to go. Does that player exist on a collegiate level that would warrant a high draft pick if they're able to make that commitment? Not sure, but I would be looking for that type of a quarterback first. The second part to that, to kind of answer your question, I think there are veteran quarterbacks you got to keep on your roster that are proven that you get at a discount, you get at a bargain, that still have the ability to have that flame. So when someone goes down, you're not starting over from scratch from one, having either a rookie quarterback that you have to depend on, or B, that you have a veteran quarterback that still hasn't played anywhere. It doesn't make sense. There are players that you can always have. There's quarterbacks that typically are available that are willing to come in and be your number 2/3 quarterback while you're developing. And I think the Lions, hedge it that way. I don't want to keep having linemen that you're never going to play, that really are just there to take up bodies and give. They're giving, coming in and out and giving a little break to some of the starters. I want players that are there to give me true safety value in the event something happens, to where I can just plug and play and not miss a beat. And if I do, I'm taking a little step back off the pedal, but I'm not giving up the whole thing.
Mark?
Yeah, what do you think about rookie tight end there, James Mitchell, stepping up, getting his first touchdown of the year, making that first big catch on third down? It's good to see the young kid get in there and make a couple splash plays. And the second question is Jamison Williams coming back? Is he going to play this year? So I got those two questions.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'll start with the latter. With Williamson, I think for him, that's going to be a question of, is it worth it? Is it worth him playing? Bring him in and just let him get the conditioning, let him run around a little bit. Do you make him a strong target to go after him? I think if at this point I want him to get completely healthy, but I want him to get the cardio. I want him to get the running around out there, to get the feel and the flow of the game. Maybe there's some short passes that I'm not sending him over the middle that often. I'm not putting him in situations where guys can go low on his legs and this stuff. So I do believe you play him, but I think it's really not. I'm not pressing the envelope. I don't need him to show and justify and prove why we picked him, as high as we did in the first round and traded up to get him. As it relates to, as far as this entire unit, there are things that the Lions can try and do and preserve the rest of this year, but I don't think there's a lot there is to salvage, other than trying to get ready for next year. So, with Williamson, I think that's really going to become a big focus for him. But outside of that, it's just how do you get through this season? How do you get through it healthy? How do you, figure out what players and coaches you're going to bring back, and what do you have to work with when you start talking about building a franchise that's going to have any look at trying to win something of value.
Can you still play in this game? Because we do got some injuries. So first off, can you play? And do you think you could make Jared Goff look better, since you are a bigger wide receiver? Is that possible? I don't know, but
Mike, let me tell you this. I think I at least still have tight end speed. I'm not Terrell Owens. I'm not going to be that guy that says, hey, I'm going to come back and do something like that. But to come back and run some 5 and 10 yard routes and control routes, be real physical at the line, yeah. That's not something that requires 4.3 speed. I say that in, obviously joking. So, but it really, you develop your players. I need you to own this part of the puzzle. If it's a Kennedy, I need you when we put you in on third. You got it. You have to beat your guy. If it's Amon-Ra St. Brown, it's like, you know what? I need you to keep our chains moving. I need you to be a leader out there that guys are looking at. Raymond, there's things you get from him. The tight end, you talk about the rookie tight end playing well today. He's someone that it's going to take time, right? It's one game. He's off the radar. It's easier until people start knowing who you are and they start planning for you. He's not a Hockenson. He's not a veteran tight end that someone knows about. Yeah, you got to get your feet wet. But I don't know. It was just I can't say it enough. This game is weird because I don't want anyone to lose focus, because someone may listen to me, and I'll just say this briefly and say, gosh, they won. You gotta have some adulation, some happiness for that. No, you look at, okay, where is this team going? I get the win, but you're not going to win a lot of football games like this. One, not because you dominated or beat a team. Two, teams are not going to make 3 and 4 turnovers in critical times and give up red zone and touchdowns that give you the ability to wait till you get it right offensively or you're able to make plays. It just does not happen enough. So I see this as this was an opportunity. This is one of those games that perhaps you shouldn't have won, but you did. The ball swung your way, but you can't rely on that. So when I look at the entire where do the Lions go from here, I go that this team still got a lot of work ahead of it. And it's not to take anything away from their play. I commend them for going out and playing tough, for coming away with the dub. But at the same, they obviously know that that's not going to cut it. They're going to have to get a lot better.
We've been on here about an hour, and there's only 43 likes. We're about to close this bad boy. Herm, man, have these people get these likes up.
I'm gonna get it up like this. Hey, see how dark it is in my car? I didn't even want to make it brighter in here because I need the like buttons to come up so we can get some energy, some power, just natural, just organic, to brighten our days. So I'm gonna stay in the dark until y'all get those numbers up. Now I'm already got a little dark skin on me. I got that nice dark chocolate right here. But I'm telling you, I need y'all to hit that button, man. Light it up. We gotta light up the Lion fan base. We gotta light this thing up a little bit better than what it's been. And at the end, always know this, and I said this last time, Lion fans never lose because we are the winners. We are the winners, right? Win or lose, we always win.
Hey, we definitely win. We win around the draft time, too. That's for sure. We always win around that. That's our favorite time. Hey, appreciate everybody hanging out. Last words, throw it out there. King, Dan, Mark, Herm, whatever you guys say, just throw it out there.
Last words, I'm just going to keep it in the words of Mr. Moore that's sitting right here. Simmer down a little bit, Lions fans. I mean, we rebuilding. Let's take it easy, let's not fire the entire coaching staff. We can't keep doing this fire coaches in year 2 thing. We cannot keep being repetitive. Let these guys get an opportunity to get the proper talent, and let's see where this thing takes us.
Dan.
Lions' greatest draft class since 1993 when Tracy Stroggins went in the 5th round.
Mark.
Oh, yeah. Hey, man, we won today, guys. Walk into work on a Monday morning and slap a Green Bay fan.
Hey, seeing Karen Rodgers angry, that is just good as a victory. I love watching him getting all upset. Karen Rodgers goes down. Woo! Hey, Herm loves going against Green Bay, too, by the way. We always winning, no matter what.
Favorite food is? Grilled cheese.
That's for you Pack fans out there. Grilled cheese, baby. Victory for Detroit. You take the L and the cry.
I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me. And what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan. Your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be f***ing sour, take a cold shower. Scream until you're louder, work until you're prouder. And f*** all the doubters, they're just your downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm f***ed off at these f***ing clowns who were all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown.